Okay, it's recording. Um, I don't know how to do intros, so I'm just not gonna do an intro.
All right, I'll do it for you. So, good morning, Internet, and welcome back to another podcast here with Sarah, and I'm the other guy. So, we just experienced The Last of Us, and I've watched it so many times, but Sarah has made a spectacular reaction to it, and a lot of people say that you can only experience The Last of Us the first time once. And so I warned Sarah of that. And Sarah is one of the lucky few people that decided to document her reaction to it for the first time. No, I'm completely serious. This is what a lot of people wish they would have done. And Sarah has done it. I'm assuming it's going to be linked in the description.
Yes.
And because Sarah, before this, Sarah would watch what was it, all the Naughty Dog playlist that I made when I did a let's play of all the Naughty Dog videos, and because we like to watch videos together, she prefers watching mine, which I'm fine with. I'm assuming that's the reason why. You're free to not watch mine, by the way. I'm just assuming you want to watch mine.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't actually gotten verification of that until just now, so that's good to know. So it was a reaction of my let's play to it. So um, Sarah said that she just got finished experiencing The Last of Us, and luckily she also got to watch the documentary The Making of The Last of Us, and including Left Behind as well. Literally, like probably not even 60 seconds before we got this started, is when she just finished. So these are her raw emotions coming out of it, and yeah, is that a good enough intro?
Yeah, that's good
Okay,
enough.
so this is Sarah's show. I'm gonna shut the fuck up and have Sarah take it away.
Yeah, I'll put the reaction channel in the description because I've made a ton of videos and I'm currently uploading the rest of them, so they'll probably be all up by the time I post this. If I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. My words are not wording right now. but
That's okay.
but yeah, no, I gave it a solid 10 out of 10 cuz
Nice.
and I told people to unsubscribe to me if they didn't think it was a 10 out of 10. But I'm just kidding cuz I want subscribers, so don't unsubscribe. But no, that was my uh rating cuz I know you always ask like what people think of the games, and yeah, no, I was at a 9 and then I finished it and I was like, considering I cried in the last like 5 episodes, that's a 10 out of 10 for me because it's not a movie. I cry at movies, but not usually
Mhm.
at video games. So, yeah, but that's my rating I would give it.
Awesome, awesome. So, oh, what was I going to say? Okay, yeah. So, spoilers ahead. Sarah and I are going to discuss our thoughts on what the game means, what happens, what were some of the biggest surprises, what did you expect versus what you got. Um, so let's dive into that.
Okay. Um I mean, I don't really think it's a spoiler because the people that watch me have seen or like played the game or like watched the show, so like they
Yeah,
know.
if you've never watched The Last of Us or played it or seen the show, and this is the first you're hearing about it, what the fuck are you doing? Go watch Sarah's reaction to my reaction playing the game. That's what you need to do. God damn it, it's 2025.
I
That's
literally
what
no,
we're doing.
I literally got mad at Bryce the other day because I found out that no, it was literally yesterday, but I found out that Pedro Pascal's playing Joel in the series, and I was like, "You didn't tell me this," and he was like, "I didn't know that you cared," and I was like, "I love Pedro Pascal, of course I care." Like,
Also, I legitimately thought it was common knowledge. I thought like everybody knew that. Um,
No.
Especially a Pedro Pascal fan.
Okay.
What's wrong with you? Why don't you know that that Pedro Pascal is Joel? Isn't that a big deal? Like, you know, I'm
Because
just
you're the
kidding.
first person that I've talked to that has played the game. Because yeah, so
Very well. So,
I I
um,
I dated other people that play, or one other person that played video games, but they were not the games that you play. So I have a very flawed sense of games.
very good. All right, so let's go through the game from essentially from beginning to end with the major emotional sticking points, and let's dive into your thoughts about it. So at the very beginning, we see the prologue. Is that it? Prelogue?
Pro-
Prologue?
Prologue, yeah.
Prologue with Sarah, coincidentally enough.
Mhm.
And we play as Sarah, and then we see her pass. She gets shot and she dies. I don't need to sugarcoat it. So, so what did you think of that? That was probably the first big emotional gut punch in the story.
I mean, yeah, obviously I have a little bit of a bias because same name, so that hit for sure. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, seeing, especially with kids, like I have um a soft spot like for kids, and like she wasn't that young, I don't think. I don't actually know how old she was, but
I thought she
I
was
don't think
like
it was actually ever
12.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like probably 12 or something around there. Um But anyway, but yeah, so, like, seeing a kid pass is already, like, emotional for me, and then the fact that her name was Sarah was like, "God damn it, okay, we're already starting out like this, okay." Like,
Definitely.
alright.
And then after that, a big reveal was Ellie herself, and then that she was bitten. So, what were your thoughts and predictions after you knew that she was bitten at the time?
Um, so she got she was bitten, and then she was telling, Tess that it happened, like, 3 weeks before, and so I was confused because I was like, knowing, because at this point, like, I kinda start knowing that once you're infected, like, you start turning pretty quickly. So I was like, how is she just, like, not one of the infected? Like, I didn't know, like, the story behind that at that point in time. So I was just like, I don't know, I feel like I didn't know if she was covering it up and that she, like, it wasn't actually 3 weeks, and it was more recent, but it did look pretty healed, so it kinda I was kinda on the fence about that,
Hmm.
but I was definitely confused on, like, how she was just chilling and, like, I'm still here. But
Yeah,
yeah.
because Joel also was like, "I ain't buying it,"
Yeah.
and I recall you saying like, "Yeah, same, Joel. I'm not falling for that."
Yeah.
Um, all right, then we got to the loss of Tess and her sacrifice
Mhm.
to and this is where the main story starts, where she makes Joel promise her to deliver Ellie to the Fireflies no matter what,
Mhm.
and then she sacrifices her own life so that they can achieve that goal.
Yep.
So thoughts on Tess?
Well, I don't think I, like, really pieced it together initially that, like, she was sacrificing herself. Like, I knew that, she had gotten infected, and I think I kind of was just like, okay, we're just gonna assume that she died, but like it wasn't, like, there wasn't anything in the story to really confirm or deny that.
You might have missed that part, or
Okay.
maybe I didn't show it when I played it. But when you get up to the second floor of the Capitol building, you look over the edge, and it slightly zooms in. You could see Tess is already dead on the floor at that point.
You're right. I missed that part, but yeah. Yeah, cuz but yeah, I at the time I didn't really like think of it as her sacrificing herself, but I do see like looking back now, I do see how that was her sacrificing herself, and that was another emotional part for me. Like honestly, pretty much every other episode I was feeling some sort of emotion. So
Hmm. Then after that, we get Bill's town. We meet Bill. There's a lot of comedy that happens in that part between Bill and Ellie,
mm,
and then we see Frank, who unalived himself.
yes.
Um, and who is Frank to Bill?
I don't I mean, I don't think it was actually explicitly said, but I know you said who he was, but I don't know if that was like actually confirmed or not. Um,
You know, you are right. It is indirectly left up to interpretation, but outside of the game, from Neil Druckmann, it is confirmed that
okay.
that was his boyfriend.
Yeah. Because I was like the note that he left like was he was like angry, so I was like, I don't know.
That
Like
breakup
I'm
note.
yeah.
And then after that, we go to Pittsburgh and we meet Henry and Sam. Sam gets bit, and then we have to deal with what happens after that. So, what reflecting on that, take us through that, Sarah.
Um so yeah, Sam gets infected, and actually Ellie is the one that discovers him, because she goes to go wake him up, um, and then she, like, sees him and he's clearly starting to turn, so she freaks out, and then Henry and Joel run into the room, um, and then Henry, I think, starts to blame Joel, um, for what happened, and Henry ends up unaliving himself, um, so that's the aftermath of that.
How did you feel about that? How it pertains to the story?
Um, I mean, honestly, like, it was kinda I don't wanna say ironic because it's not ironic, but, like, coincidental that, like, that same situation, like, just happened with Bill and Frank, like, Frank unalives himself, and then now you have Henry unaliving himself, like, that was I didn't mention this in my reaction video, but, like, now I'm kind of starting to piece it together, but yeah, that was my thought
Hmm.
process.
I know I mentioned that the way I took it was that was narratively uh, Joel in an alternate universe where if Joel got too attached to Ellie and somehow she died, that
Yeah,
um, that Joel would commit no more breathe to himself
yeah,
as well. Um, and so seeing these different characters gives Joel, okay, these are the paths to not take in life. With Bill, it's I'm going to be alone forever, and that's just what I'm going to do. If I'm alone, I can't get hurt,
mhm,
and that didn't work,
mhm,
right? With Bill, and it didn't work with Henry, even more so. Um, what happens after that? Oh, we go to Tommy.
Yes.
And I remember that you had. I was not expecting an emotional reaction out of this, but you were very taken back by Tommy reuniting with Joel.
Yes. I'm trying to remember why, because I don't remember having a reaction to it, but
Well, in earlier in the episode, Joel said that the last time he saw Tommy, Tommy said to Joel that I never want to see your goddamn face again.
right.
And
Yeah.
so they were unsure that if they find Tommy, that he's even going to be friendly. And so they meet up, and then Tommy immediately hugs Joel, and and to that you're like, oh my god, and that was great. I
Yeah, because
forgot I forgot about that.
yeah, because I think that, like, because I've been and, like, this is not to get, like, too personal, but, like, not with my own brother, but, with, like, friends, like, I've had kinda similar situations where, like, we get into, like, a huge fight, and it's like we're telling each other, like, "Don't ever talk to me again," you know? And then, like, we reconnect after, like, all these years, and then it's like nothing ever happened, you know? And it's like we regret even saying those words to each other, so I think that's kind of where the reaction came from, is kind of just reflecting on my past experiences, so
Definitely. And then after that was this moment where um, Ellie confronts Joel about figuring out that Joel lost his daughter Sarah,
Mhm,
and that she is not Sarah.
mhm. Yeah, honestly, like, I and maybe this was me looking, trying to be optimistic, but, I kind of thought, like, that they were both kind of starting to grow on each other, but they didn't neither of them wanted to admit it, and Joel, for most of the game until the very end, was like, "I don't wanna talk about my feelings," and, like, you would mock him being like, "You're gonna make me talk about my feelings and stuff," you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because trying to be, like, the stereotypical manly man, like, not showing emotion. Um, but I think deep down, like, he did care for her, and, like, I was assuming that he did kind of look at Ellie as his daughter, um, but he was just, like, really deep in denial about it, but yeah, that part I definitely remember crying too, because I was like, "Ah, no," like, but yeah.
And then you were surprised that moments after Joel decided, you know what, fuck it, let's just
Mhm.
do it anyways.
Yeah, so, what we didn't mention was that, he meets up with Tommy, and then he tells Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies, um, and then I think Ellie overhears the conversation somehow, and then she takes Tommy's horse and runs off, and so then Joel and Tommy are, like, running after her, um, or not running because 'cause they're both on horses, but, yeah, they go after her, and then later Joel something I don't remember if there was, like I think it was actually, it was Tommy's wife who was kind of, like, saying that if anything happens to Tommy, like, she's gonna come after him, basically,
Hmm.
and so I think
After
Joel
Joel.
after Joel, yeah. So, I think Joel got scared of her, so then he was like, oh shit, like let me go take care of this, you know?
That is what Joel said, that his wife kind of scares him,
Yeah.
but I think that that was just kind of Joel's like excuse to say that he's scared of Tommy's wife rather than I love Ellie and I need to take her.
Yeah.
So I think that was just more his excuse. I don't think that Joel was actually that afraid of her. I can't imagine that Joel is afraid of most things.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, now that I'm kind of like discussing it out loud, I'm like, yeah, no, that was definitely an excuse. He just didn't want to admit that he feels like a sense of like responsibility for Ellie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then they make it to the uh, the hospital in University of Eastern Colorado, which is a fake university. Um, and there's no fireflies there. And then Joel gets really hurt. Literally, a metal pipe goes through what looks like his appendix. Um, and it's not looking like Joel's going to survive. So,
And I
yeah.
genuinely I was fully convinced, and you'll see it in my reaction videos that I like mentioned like because Bryce is like, "Oh, we gotta go save him." I'm like, "What do you mean? Like he's clearly not here. Like there's what do you mean?" But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was fully convinced that like nah, he was already gone, you know.
So Sarah got to experience this in a very special way, and that was um, after Joel fell off his horse, and Ellie is like, "You got to tell me what to do." Normally, the game jumps from that to winter, where David is and everything. But Sarah got to experience the Last of Us Left Behind DLC in that spot. That's where that
Mhm.
takes place. Um, at least the Ellie in the mall part takes place there, along
Mhm.
with Ellie's flashbacks. So um, the way that Sarah experienced it was a unique one, and she assumes Joel's Joel's gone. Um, which, by the way, if you play it without the DLC, most people also do assume Joel's gone because you do take control of Ellie in winter right there too. Um, so uh, yeah, that's a thing as well. But because of the Left Behind DLC, it was such for an extended period of time that you were with Ellie, not knowing whether Joel was going to make it or not. And I thought it was interesting to see that Sarah was still convinced over this whole time that like Joel's not going to make it. Um, because I would assume that most people would think that he would. So considering that he's not immediately dead, but did you think that he was like slowly dying, or what was that?
Yeah, I thought like I knew he was like not conscious. Like I knew that
Mm,
much. But I thought that like it was like he was literally bleeding out. I'm like there's no way someone survives that. Like
yeah,
um
especially in that universe,
yeah.
like no, yeah, you would need serious medical treatment after that.
I was like there's no way Ellie's whatever Ellie did is just
Yeah,
like he's like
gonna
oh,
work.
he's like okay, I'm alive, I'm good, you know, like
Yeah, for sure. So Sarah kind of binge watched the rest of The Last of Us. So that's pretty much where I left off with her reaction. So Sarah, you're going to have to recall uh,
okay.
after that. So uh, I know that the Ellie kiss scene with Riley happens. So
Yes.
take us through there to the end of the game.
Yeah. Okay. So the DLC, I mean, Bryce kind of did tell me this, so it was kind of like I kind of understood it a little bit more, but like it was hard for me to know like, okay, this is a flashback. This is like, okay, we're back, because I saw Joel and I was like, okay, we're back to like the actual game. Um, but the DLC was really interesting because you learn more about like why Ellie is the way that she is. And we meet her friend Riley, who was her best friend, and she basically sneaks her out of the military like boarding school that Ellie's in, and they go to this mall, and like meanwhile the infection is like starting, or like I don't know how far into the infection it
20
was.
years.
Okay, yeah.
Because
So
it happened, she got her bite 3 weeks before the beginning of when Joel wakes up, and that was
right,
20 years.
yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, Ellie is 14, right? So
Mhm.
the outbreak had already been going on for 6 years, and then Ellie was born.
Mhm.
So she never knew a world without the infection.
Right. So because of the infection, like there's like military like guards everywhere, and like um all that. But they end up going. So her and Riley end up going to this. It looks like a very abandoned mall. Okay. Um, and oh, Ellie gets to play a video game, which was really fun. She actually does a little bit of Jack
She
and
plays
Daxter.
Jack
Yeah.
X Combat Racing, the best Naughty Dog game.
No.
And nobody's perfect.
You know my thoughts on Jack X, so
What are your thoughts on Jack X?
you know
Because
my
the
thoughts.
audience, I know it. The audience doesn't know it. So what are your thoughts on Jack X?
Okay. I don't wanna say it was no, you know what, I am gonna say it. I was gonna try to be nice and say, "It's not the worst Naughty Dog game," but honestly, I think it was. I was
It's
like,
the
"What?"
worst one. Which one is worse than Jack X? You
Yeah,
can't point to one.
yeah, that's true. Uh, but yeah, no, that was a really stupid game in my opinion, but that's
And
my thing.
Ellie's opinion too, apparently.
Yeah. Um, and apparently, because this was again Bryce telling me, because he feeds me all my video game knowledge because I know nothing. But
You're learning. You're learning. I mean, you're getting through Naughty Dog, which is a big part of the gaming industry. Um, if not, like The Last of Us changed everything after it came out. The whole industry was changed after that game. So, Sarah, being able to experience this in its most authentic form, I think was such a awesome experience, and I'm so happy that we get to watch you react to that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, sorry, go ahead and continue. So, Jack
Yeah,
X.
yeah. But so apparently, the first time you play The Last of Us, at
Oh, we cut out. She cut out. It says I'm still recording. So, that's weird. Why would I be? Okay, you're back?
my internet crapped out on me.
That's okay. Okay, so the first time that you're doing, you're playing The Last of Us, and you get to Jack X. What?
You get a trophy and it says no, it's the Nobody's Perfect trophy, I
Yeah,
think is what you said it was. So I thought that was interesting.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, nobody's
Yeah.
perfect.
Because I'm like, yeah, that's a dig at Naughty Dog right there. But
Well, it's
okay.
their own game.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're not perfect studio either. Sometimes
Yeah.
we make a Jack X.
Um But yeah. Uh
which I did a blind Let's Play on, and I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, I think actually there's a you mentioned it in like one of the videos I just recorded, and you were like, "That was painful to play." I was like, "Yeah, it was painful for me to watch."
Yeah,
Like,
it's painful to play, painful to watch. Even when I was doing it, I was like, "Look, we're gonna play other Naughty Dog games, but you should not subscribe for this. Like, I'm just playing this just so I can say I beat every Naughty Dog game. So if you're not doing specifically that, then don't bother. But yeah, if you're gonna say you did every Naughty Dog game, you gotta do all of them. So it includes
right,
Jack X. So
right.
okay. So all right, let's get to where Riley and Ellie do the smooch.
Yeah. So Riley, or not Ellie, is saying to Riley that, she has to go back, but she wants to continue exploring, so she's like, "Why don't we do this tomorrow?" And then Riley kind of like pauses and is like, "I can't," and then explains that she is being asked to go to this other um there was a word she used, but I'm like blanking on the word, but basically
There
she
were
has to
yeah.
yeah, she has to move to a whole other uh a whole other state, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Um and so they kind of get into like a little argument cuz Ellie's like upset, rightfully so, cuz like we find out that it's been years since they've seen each other cuz I don't know what she said, but there was like a situation where Riley said something to Ellie and just like left basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's in the comics, so I never read them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um but anyway, then in another like I'm pretty sure it's that same day, but I think Ellie takes some time to like kind of calm down, and like she goes after Riley because Riley's like, "Well, I'm gonna go listen to this music," and so then she goes and tries to find Riley, um, and then Ellie tells her to not leave, and Riley takes off her firefly necklace, and Ellie kisses her, and I swear I was too stunned to speak. I was like, "Nope, video's done. Nope, done. No." But no, I continued my reaction, but literally I was sitting there like shocked for like a solid 3 minutes. I was like, "What?" Like, but yeah.
Awesome. And then we get the answer to one of your questions earlier on, which was why is Ellie immune, or how
Mhm.
does she knew that? Um, and so you want to take us
Yeah,
there?
so basically there's a lot of stuff that happens, and it goes back and forth between flashback and like being in that actual
In the
uh
mall and
yeah.
during winter.
Mhm. Um, one key thing is we see Ellie and Riley both get infected while they're in the mall. Um, and they're talking about like, okay, so what do we do? And Riley basically said we can just tough it out, and go crazy together. And we find out that Riley unfortunately passes from that. Um, and Ellie is still um she's alive still. Um and then
Which this was one of the moments that are left up to interpretation. How do you think Ellie dealt with Riley turning? We never see it. We never hear about
mhm,
it. We have no idea. We just know that afterwards, Ellie's all by herself, all alone?
I feel like, well, because there's points when we're back in the gameplay, and she's not acting like herself, because she's usually super bubbly and super talkative, and then she's just like she's barely talking to Joel, like Joel's trying to talk to her and she's not really answering.
That is towards the later of the
Yeah.
game, but do you think she's thinking about Riley then, or because I think
Well,
she's thinking about something else at that point.
there is a point where when she's trying to save Joel and get him to not die, basically, and she gets the med kit, and then she goes into that daydream with Riley, or the flashback with Riley. But I think, to like actually answer the question, because I'm tangenting in true ADHD fashion, but I think she definitely was struggling with losing her, because that was her best friend. But at the same time, like, she lost her once before because she like left, but it's different from someone being not alive and someone that just like left,
Do you think Ellie killed Riley, or do you think that she just left Riley to lose her mind and she just left her alive?
I don't
Because we don't know we don't know the answer.
I don't think she killed her.
Hmm.
But I don't know, because there was a point where I felt like she was going to, like when she found out that they both got bit, but I don't think she actually ended up killing her. I think she just like left her to, turn whatever.
Interesting. All right, now take us through the journey with David.
Okay, well, I found out that was Nolan North.
When did you figure that out?
Literally, like, today.
When? I mean, like, when did you figure it out? During the Let's Play, or how did you figure it out? Did I say it?
No, it was in the credits.
Okay, so we'll get there then.
Okay.
So David with Ellie, and you didn't even know it was Nolan North, which I think it's better that way, because if you knew it was Nolan North, then you'd have like some sort of like positive bias alongside David.
Yeah.
So I didn't
No, I
didn't
hated
want that.
David. I was like, nah, fuck this guy.
So tell us your reaction to what happens with David.
So Ellie, in her quest to, heal Joel, runs into this guy David, who we later find out is a cannibal and eats humans, which that was a fun time to figure out. I forgot his like friend, or like his buddy's name, but
Well, Ellie just called him Buddy Boy.
yeah, I thought that was so funny.
We'll call him Buddy Boy because I don't remember what he actually called him.
Yeah.
James, maybe? Buddy Boy. Buddy Boy's better.
Yeah, I think we're just he's Buddy Boy forever. But David kind of gives Ellie the impression that he's gonna keep her safe, and I was like, I doubt that. I would, like, if I was Ellie, I would be careful.
Did you always think that David was bad, or were you like, oh, is this the new Joel? Or
I didn't always think it until she gets like captured, and then she ends up breaking his finger.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to come back from that.
Yeah. But at first, like, when she, like, first runs into him and buddy boy that I'm gonna forever say, um, and she's, like, holding a gun, like, to their faces, basically saying, "If you don't get me when I'm asking you, I'm shooting you," you know?
I think she had a bow.
Oh, yeah, it was a bow, yeah,
And she's
but
like, right,
still.
right between my eyes.
Yeah. I was like, "Okay, Ellie, go off." Like, I support that, but, um, yeah, so that was so there was a point where he does kind of rescue her, and so then I thought, "Oh, maybe this is the new Joel," but then that quickly went out the window, like, 5 seconds later, so then I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, never mind."
There was a moment where David touches Ellie,
I think that was the moment when I was like, "This guy's sketch."
for sure. And then, what was your reaction uh, immediately after that? You see Joel wake up.
I started crying again for, like, the 20th time.
What were your thoughts?
Um, I I was very happy that he woke up, and again, like, this is just me speculating because there was no, like, official confirmation,
Hmm.
but I feel like he was sensing that something was wrong and that Ellie was in danger, and that's kind of, like, what made him wake up and become conscious again. But again, that's just me speculating.
Yeah, I mean, that art is up to interpretation, and um, I can see how it's definitely read like that. And then um, the conflict between uh, oh yeah, there was a special moment where Ellie used her being infected to save her life when she bit David, and then
Mhm.
convinced him that he was now infected. So take us through your thoughts on that journey.
Yeah, um, I don't know if I mean, I think she no, I think she knew she was immune because it was kind of determined, like,
Hmm.
back with tests, um, but I don't I don't I don't know if I really had, like, a reaction to that necessarily.
Hmm.
I just thought it was smart that she was, like, using that to, like, save her own life, you know?
Yeah,
Um
that's her last card she could possibly play.
Mhm.
And then what do you think when David got his comeuppance with what Ellie did to him?
You mean, like, when she broke his finger? Or, like
No, at the end with
oh,
the um
when he's
what
chasing
is
after.
that sword? Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah. I was like, "Eh, he kinda deserved it."
and then Joel showed up.
Yeah, and at first she was telling him to get off of her, 'cause she didn't know that it was Joel, and then he was like, "No, it's me," and then she, like, looks at him, and um, then she was like, "Oh, he tried," like, I think she was trying to tell Joel, like, what, David was trying to do to her, and then Joel's like, "We just gotta get out of here," so they go and yeah.
And then after that, Ellie was very distant
Mhm,
for a while.
mhm.
What did you think of the draft scene after that?
I thought I was not expecting there to be actual animals in it. Um, I mean, I know there was a deer and, because she was hunting for food at one point,
Hmm.
um, and there was a deer and something you'll see in the reaction video, but I mean, your chat gives me life sometimes. I just like hearing you read your chat because sometimes they say the most unhinged stuff, and I'm like, what
Oh my
is this
gosh.
right now?
Yeah, I recorded that like 3 years ago, so I have no idea what it was.
You were asking what people's favorite characters were, and you said mine's the bunny that clearly just died like 5 seconds before, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
Nice. Oh my gosh. All right. And then, yeah, so you weren't expecting the draft scene. And then it was interesting where Joel's character arc takes place through the whole story. Um, and I don't know if you caught this or not, but it was when Ellie said, "Hey, I stole this from, oh, I forget her name,
Maria.
Maria." Um, and she gave
Mhm.
Joel the photograph of him and Sarah.
Mhm.
And Joel says he like is like, well, no matter how hard you try, I guess you can't escape your past.
Mhm.
And then from that moment on, Joel is able to embrace the past.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of jumping ahead, but at the very end of the game, you notice that he talks about Sarah and how Ellie would have liked her. And so he's now not suppressing that anymore. And
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
um, yeah. What do you think of Joel's character arc? That's what the whole story was focused around.
Yeah, I again, this is me giving speculation, but
Hmm.
um I think him being like near death, like when he literally got badly injured, um I think that turned a new leaf in him, um and made him like appreciate life more, and I think Ellie giving him the picture was just kind of like that extra push that he needed to be like, "It's okay,"
Hmm.
like, it's okay to talk about things that happened, because it's it happened for a reason,
Hmm.
but that's, again, just me speculating, but
Interesting. And so, do you think that, at least in this story, when David says, "See, I believe everything happens for a reason," do you think that's true in the Last of Us universe, or do you think David's full of shit?
I think the first time, well, not I don't even wanna say the first time because it's the only time I heard him say it, but, at first, I kinda thought that was BS, but now I'm like, "No, he might have been onto something." Like, yes, he was still an asshole and, like, uh, deserved what he got, but, like, I
Hmm.
do think there was something to be said about that, so
Interesting, very interesting. And then as Joel and Ellie are trying to make it to the hospital,
mhm.
um, Ellie starts drowning, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then Joel had to save her. So what were your thoughts while that was happening?
Um, yeah, I was because I had been asking, like, in previous reactions, I was like, "What's gonna," like, because if Joel didn't make it and she had to swim, because she can't swim, like, what was gonna happen? And I was like, "Obviously," well, you were like, "Well, she's gonna drown." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but, like," you know? Uh, but yeah, I was really hoping that he would, you know, be able to resuscitate her, but then he ends up, um well, actually, I don't know if we see it happen, but then it goes to a cutscene, and then Joel's laying laying in a hospital bed. and Ellie's not there. And he wakes up, and then we see Marlene, who I also thought died, like, at the same time that Tess died. So when
Oh
I saw
yeah,
so when I
because she
saw
was shot too, and it's like, how's Marlene gonna survive?
yeah. So then I saw her and I was like, okay, so this game just keeps giving me plot twists that I'm not seeing. All right, that's fine.
And next thing you know, it Tess comes back.
I wish. I wish. No, but so Joel and Marlene are talking, and then he was like asking where's Ellie, and then she mentions that she's in surgery, and then he's like, surgery for what? And she tells him that because she's immune, they can use her to find a cure for the cordyceps infection. Um, and so then Joel has to like kind of decide whether he's gonna legit let them kill Ellie to find a cure or not. Um, so that's that was that.
One of the biggest thing that a lot of fans have trouble with is whether or not they think Joel did the right thing.
You even asked that in the video too.
So
um,
what are your thoughts? Because there's two moments, in my opinion. There's this decision that he between letting the Fireflies develop a cure, and killing Ellie, or murdering all the Fireflies but saving Ellie. There's that, and then also lying to Ellie at
mhm,
the end and doubling down on the lie.
mhm.
So let's talk about the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, thoughts on that, or are you not, or is your mind not made up yet?
I said it in my reaction video that
Hmm.
like that I was conflicted because like I saw that he was bonding with Ellie and that um he was trying was starting to grow attached to her. Um and I
But
was just trying to
Joel single-handedly murdered, damned all of humanity forever.
yeah.
As far as we know, that's the only surgeon left in the world that could have done that operation successfully.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like if I was in that situation, like what would I do? And I can't tell you if I would have a decision, honestly.
So you're not sure if Joel did the right thing or not there.
Yeah.
And then after that, Joel takes Ellie while she's still
He
unconscious.
and he's carrying her the same way that he carried Sarah, which that broke me too. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely. And because Joel's not going to let her die again.
Mhm.
And um, so Joel makes it out, and he lies to Ellie just straight up. Yeah, we made it there. Turns out there's a bunch of immune people, and yeah, they've done all these tests and came up with nothing. So we're leaving.
Mhm. And then he does it again.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Swear to me that that was a true story."
Yeah, and then he was like, "Yeah." And then she just takes a deep breath and is like, "Okay." Um and
Was that the right thing?
you actually raised a interesting question in the stream um on if people think that Ellie knew he was lying. And I personally think she did know that he was lying, even that second, like, even that second time, like, when he said that it was true.
Mhm.
Um, but she trusted him enough that she kinda was just like, "Okay, whatever," you know?
Hmm.
So,
So do you think that that was the right thing to do?
I think Joel was still just trying to protect her, which is why he didn't tell her the truth. But I do also think, and you mentioned this as well, and I don't wanna just keep copying your thoughts,
No, you're good.
but
I'm assuming that most people, while they should, won't sit through the entire like Let's Play reaction. So this is like your recap of like what you think. So I think most people end up watching this.
okay, yeah.
So it's fine to repeat yourself.
Yeah, but I think what should have happened, and this is, like, wishful thinking because I know that's not how video games work,
Hmm.
but, like, if Ellie, because Ellie was saved by, I think, some of the fire or a few of the fireflies or whoever,
Hmm.
um, but she should have been asked, like, "What do you want us to do?" Because then I feel like hearing it from Ellie herself would help with this uncertainty of, like, is this the right thing to do or not?
Yeah, for sure. Now, what do you think? Now, let's say Ellie says yes, like yeah, do the operation. Then everything goes hunky dory, right?
Mhm.
But what if she said no? Do you think the Fireflies would have just done it anyway?
I know I was, like, really conflicted about them, like, when I first started doing the reactions, I was like, "I don't know if these are the good guys or not," and then I was like, "No, they are the good guys because they're trying to find a cure,"
Hmm.
but then by the end, I'm like, I was thinking about that, I was like, "If she had said no, do I think they would have done it anyway?" And honestly, I think they would have done it anyway.
Yeah, I think they would have too, and I think that's the reason why they didn't ask her because the answer wouldn't have mattered.
Mhm,
They would have just done it anyway. And I
mhm.
think it also uh, would have given them even more guilt if they asked her and she said no. Whereas if they didn't ask her, then they could have just said, "Well, I knew Ellie, and it's what she would have wanted anyways."
Which is
And
what Marlene said.
right, that is what she said. But like, do you think Ellie would have said yes or no?
I feel like she would, I don't know, 'cause I feel like I don't know if she'd be able to make that big of a decision. Not that she can't, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like she would go to Joel too and, like, ask Joel what she should do.
And Joel would say no,
Yeah,
absolutely not,
yeah.
right? And that, do you think, let's say Joel said no to her, what do you think Ellie would have done?
Well, Ellie is her own person, so
Hmm.
I know she, like, trusted Marlene to, because Marlene promised Ellie's mom that she would, look after her.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like Ellie would go against Joel. And
Yeah, because I
yeah.
think like Ellie, um, she kind of sees that that is her purpose,
Mhm.
is to do this one thing.
Mhm.
Right after giraffe scene, Joel proposes to Ellie, "Hey, we don't have to do this," before he even knows that it's going to sacrifice her life. He's just like, "We could just turn around."
Mhm.
And she says, "After all we've been through, everything that I've done, it can't be for nothing."
Yep.
And so I think that, oh, and then especially at the very end when Joel wants to go to Jackson, and Ellie's like, "Hey, wait, um, my friend Riley turned, and then Tess, and then Sam. I'm waiting for my turn."
Mhm.
And so it's like she was waiting to die, you know.
Mhm.
So I think she would have done it. At least that's my opinion.
No, yeah, I I agree that if she had a choice, like if she was asked or whatever,
Mhm.
she would have said, "Yeah, do it." You know?
There are some people that are unsure whether Ellie knew that it would kill her the whole time. Um, but there is dialogue that a lot of people miss, and unfortunately, the way I played it in grounded mode, I missed it too. But it's in the university, in the science lab. You have to unlock a shiv door to trigger this conversation, and I didn't have a shiv, so I missed the conversation. But the conversation is, Ellie asked Joel, "So what do you think they're gonna do? Do you think they're gonna just like draw blood or something?" And he's like, "I don't know. It might be as simple as that." And
Mm.
like that's it. So like Ellie really doesn't know how they're gonna get the cure from her. As far as they were concerned, they're just gonna draw some of Ellie's blood.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which, if
I
that
don't
was
know.
the case, why couldn't they have just done that in Boston and then ship it? You know,
Right.
um, that would have been way safer. Make
Yeah.
multiple samples, but no, they need Ellie. So, um, yeah, but I suppose Ellie was not aware of that.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think um, this game means? Like, what is its thesis? Would you have to say to real life?
Mm,
If you're not sure, that's okay.
I have ideas, but I'm probably wrong.
It's up to interpretation, but in my opinion, I think the thing that Riley said was like it, where it was like, yeah, you could uh end your life now, and you could argue that it could be better for other people, which is true with Riley and Ellie. Like they could have unalived themselves and then stopped two more infected running around. Ellie could have sacrificed herself to potentially get a cure. We don't even know for sure that that was going to be a thing. They might have gotten a cure. Um, and uh, Tess could have revealed to Joel earlier that she was infected, but she chose to use the last moments of her life to help Joel and Ellie as much as possible. And so I think that the story is life not being finite, or excuse me, not being infinite is sacred. And so it doesn't matter whether we have 2 weeks or 2 minutes. We shouldn't give that up, and we should try to spend as much valuable time together as possible. I think that's the theme, that all this shit that's going on in the world, all this petty bullshit, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how much we are enjoying life with each other. And yeah, it's a story about love. And uh, yeah, in my opinion, I think that The Last of Us is the greatest story ever told.
Yeah, I was gonna say something along the lines of that, that like life's precious, so like take every moment of it and don't take it for granted,
Mm-hmm.
because it can end just like that.
Not can, it will.
Yeah, okay.
It will end just like that. You know. Um, yeah, I think a lot of people do take life for granted, and it's important not to. All right, so what was your reaction when you read the credits of the cast, and then at the very bottom, Nolan North as David?
I was like, "What?" And then I watched the documentary and he was, like, talking about how he was trying to not make it obvious that it was him, and I was like, "Well, you succeeded because I had no idea."
Yeah,
But
he
yeah.
was like, I can't be Nathan Drake
Right.
because that'd be Nathan Drake eating people, and
He
that's
said,
we're not.
"That's a different video game."
Yeah, that's a different game. And yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Nolan North is the actor of um, Nathan Drake, who is part of the Naughty Dog games, is the main character in Uncharted. And so Sarah has been doing all that, and was in the documentary. And another series that you're going to be reacting to is the definitive Let's Play of the Uncharted trilogy, played by um, Nolan North and Troy Baker, who is the actor for Joel. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that so far?
Yeah. Nolan North was so funny in the one video I watched because he was talking about the actor that played Sully, and he was like, "If I see him in person, I'm gonna punch him in the mouth," and I was just like, "Dang, okay."
Yeah, they're great. And now that you're done with The Last of Us, what's next?
Um, like, what am I reacting to next?
Well, yeah, what's the next Naughty Dog game you're reacting to?
Uncharted 4.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think. Oh yeah, and then really quick, what? Because you watched the documentary afterwards. What are your overall thoughts of what went into the making of The Last of Us?
I did not realize it took as long as it did to, like, make it. Um, and then they were
Do
all
you
talking they
Yeah,
were
do
all
you think
talking
like it was
about.
worth it? Like how much
Oh,
was
yeah.
put into it?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
because, like, how would you rate The Last of Us compared to the other Naughty Dog games? Because like you really liked Uncharted, but
Mhm.
like I'm assuming that you would put The Last of Us on a whole other level compared
Oh,
to
yeah.
the
I
Uncharted
would,
games.
cause I mean, as I said, like, if a video game is making me cry, they're
Hmm.
doing something right, like.
Yeah. And part of Naughty Dog's thing, I'm getting away from the question I asked about the documentary, but I want to say one more thing. Naughty Dog's little phrase that they coined in Uncharted, "Sig Parvis Magna," I think it is, in Latin means greatness from small beginnings,
Mhm.
and I think that's certainly a representation of how Naughty Dog grew over time with Crash Bandicoot to Jack and Daxter to Uncharted, and then the holy grail of video games that changed everything, The Last of Us.
Mhm.
So, what are your thoughts on watching Naughty Dog evolve over time to get to The Last of Us?
Well, so I definitely see the the improvements in the progression, taking out Jack X, which was no.
I don't think it's that bad. Like the story is fine. I don't like that's not that big of a
Okay.
deal. I thought it was funny.
No,
Just
it
as
was
serious as the other ones, but
it was
like
funny, but yeah.
yeah. The gameplay
But
was rough, but anyways,
yeah.
okay.
But no, I definitely think The Last of Us, from what I've seen so far, is my favorite Naughty Dog game.
Now that's your
100%.
favorite.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good. So what do we got? Is it what's at the bottom? Is it Crash Bandicoot? Crash Bandicoot, Jack Daxter. Is that what it is? Or how what would you rate them in order of how much you like them? The
Okay,
four
so the Last of Us
series.
first.
Last was number one. Okay.
Um,
Number two.
Uncharted is number 2.
Okay.
Then Jack and Daxter,
Mm.
and then as much as I love Crash, Crash.
Isn't that interesting? It's in the order that they came out with.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, thoughts on the documentary. I'm sorry, I totally interrupted you mid explanation of that.
No, if it was very interesting to like see the behind the scenes and like the making and like how many people were involved in making it, cuz one thing that I've noticed with the Naughty Dog games is like the credits are so long cuz there's so many people, working on the games. Um but it was also nice to see the actual like acting, and then
Hmm.
seeing it in the game itself, and then at the very end they show Ellie and Joel, well, the actors, um watching it, like watching themselves in the game, and they both like applauded, and then the director was like, "Okay, let's go eat." Like now that you've seen
Hmm.
it. But no, it was very interesting, and yeah, I kind of wish they did that for like other games, but it is what
They
it is.
do. They do. You haven't gotten into God of War yet, so that's a whole other thing.
Oh, okay.
But but yeah, they definitely did that for God of War. I don't know if they did it for Uncharted 4. Because I haven't seen it if they did. And it's not in the game like this one is. So maybe they did that. I hope they did. I don't think so. I've never seen it. I never heard of it. Um, but they did for part two. They definitely made a making of for Last of Us Part Two. Um, all right. Well, I think this episode is long enough.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Sarah's channel, so why don't you close us off?
This was a very impromptu
Well, because you
thing.
said you want to talk about it, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's just make a video because you're looking for more content for your podcast, and I
True.
think this is a great, um, it's another one of those things where it's the only time where you get to analyze Last of Us the first time you experience it.
Mhm.
Um, and I was surprised how well Sarah enjoyed the ending because a lot of people hate the ending because they really think that like Joel made the wrong choices and they're just like pissed off at the whole thing, and then they eventually are like, okay, I see why he did it, but normally first reactions are fuck this. Um, but not you. And I think that's because like you heard me explain it during the credits.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't seen your reaction yet.
It'll be up soon ish.
Dope, dope. Oh, Ish was a fun character. That's an
I don't
actual character.
I don't even know who that was.
Ish, he was the boat guy.
Oh.
He was the guy in the letters.
No, I
Uh,
know he was the guy that
okay.
wrote the letters, but I was like, I don't know if we actually ever met him. Like,
No, no. We have no idea how long that was. Well, supposedly all those letters were shortly after the outbreak because I think he was only out to sea for like 6 months,
mm,
and so what happened after that, I guess, was over the course of. Oh wait, did he have kids?
No, that was
He
Sibling.
adopted kids.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I feel like they were there for a while. So maybe 1 or 2 years, they were living underground. Anyways, all right. This video is long enough. So
Okay.
Sarah closes out.
All right. If anyone watches this, thanks for listening to us rant about a video game for the past over an hour.
Well, it's only the greatest video game of all time.
Yeah, right.
And it's a TV show now, and there's a new season coming out. Like everyone's talking about the
Which
last
I
one.
can finally watch the first season now that I've finished the game, but
Sure, yeah,
I could.
you could, but part 2 came out before the show did. So the true way you ought to watch it is the game of part 2 and then the show.
Okay, fine. I guess I have to do it correctly. No, it's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. And I don't know if Bryce will be in my next one, probably, because I don't have other people to bring on at this point. But
Okay.
but yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.